Fire Emblem is a name that anyone who has played a strategy RPG has no doubt heard before. This titanic staple of the genre has a rich history beginning with its inception on the NES as Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light. Now, with its 10th entry in the series, Intelligent Systems sets to create a game on a scale larger than it had ever attempted before. This is SRN's review of Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn. Radiant Dawn quickly begins by showing the player one of its many standout features, the game's ability to concisely tell an epic story with unforgettable characters. Building off the previous entry in the series, located on the same continent, the story begins with the reintroduction of key Tellius characters, like the devil-may-care and free-thinking Soth, the experienced professional swordsman Edward, the enigmatic bow wielder Leonardo, and the cheerful armor knight Meg. This cast is sure to keep you on the edge of your seat through the story's entire runtime with their deep personalities and well-established character arcs. Keeping it spoiler-free, the best description of Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn's story is a political thriller full of complex motives and deep mysteries. Characters are constantly at odds with one another in complicated and realistic struggles of not only their battlefield prowess, but also their own intelligence. Many of the scenes that occur between each of these maps really brings to bear the gravity of each situation you find yourself in. If I were to find one thing to complain about revolving around Radiant Dawn's story building, it would be the lack of supports. Supports in Fire Emblem have always been a staple of inter-character storytelling, and its inclusion would have dramatically increased the quality of the game, really selling the believability of its characters. Earlier entries in the series, such as Awakening, Fates, and New Mystery of the Emblem had supports, so it seems like a waste to have missed them here. The game does, however, do a fantastic job of boss dialogue, where characters talk with bosses on the battlefield, but that only helps to develop one side of the cast. At its core, Fire Emblem has always been a strategy RPG series. For those of you new to the genre, these games generally entail making the player assume the role of a tactician and issuing orders to the soldiers they control on the battlefield. Often, these choices revolve around not only the spatial arrangement of the soldiers you have deployed in order to win battles, but also the management of character weapons as well as their development throughout the length of the story. In this, I believe that the gameplay of Radiant Dawn sticks to this formula a little too closely, playing it safe but afraid to experiment. Over the course of the game, I found that it featured much too much math and the adding and subtracting of damages, healths, defense, and all other manners of character stats. I really think that the game missed out on the possibility of pivoting this entry into a real-time strategy or action game, genres where none of these values matter. In addition to this, my other major complaint with the game was the lack of controllable boats. Many games have flourished thanks to their inclusion of player-controlled ships, and the lack of them definitely was missing from this entry. The creation of more sea-based maps and combat on a larger, more naval-focused scale would really bring out the potential of this game's engine and story. However, I do believe Radiant Dawn does a fantastic job in regards to mission type and variety, with many differing chapter goals such as routing all enemies. Spencer, another SRN reviewer, described the game very well. Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn will test your skills in every conceivable way. The game's large arsenal of weapons, from large blades and sword whips to all manners of guns, allows each character to have a very unique playstyle. Timing is everything, with dodging, parrying, and executing precise attacks as your only chance for salvation in this brutally difficult fight against not only werewolves and rioting mobs, but cast out gods and manifestations of Lovecraftian creations. A fantastic addition to the franchise, where a hunter's best weapon is his wit. Finally, the last thing I would like to bring up is the actual battle screens themselves. The models look absolutely fantastic as they battle each other in full 3D, with many different animal and human soldiers clashing together on the battlefield. However, there's a lot occurring on screen at any given time, and I feel like removing unnecessary details, such as the numeric descriptors for hit, damage, and critical chance, would free up key screen real estate to allow us to watch the battles unfold. As always, the music in this game is top-notch. Fire Emblem has always been known for having exquisite soundtracks, from the simple tunes of the older games to the more involved songs of the Radiant Dawn soundtrack. Every piece fits its time incredibly, perfectly encapsulating the feel of the scene on screen. However, while the soundtrack does an excellent job of what it does cover, it really misses out on what it does not cover: sea shanties. With the integration of player-controlled boats and real-time combat all but confirmed for the next entry, I'm surprised to say that Radiant Dawn did not do what succeeded so well in Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, and including memorable moments of your team singing sea shanties really brings the player into the world and the location.
I thought I heard the old man say, "Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Tomorrow ye will get your pay, and it's time for us to leave her."
It seems like such a missed opportunity in bringing together the Dawn Brigade and their many possible hijinks on the high seas. All in all, Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn might be the best entry in strategy RPGs we've ever seen. Its new revolutionary mechanics, or at least the possibility of them, would create an incredibly new seafaring adventure game. Due to its robust mechanics, possibly, varied level design, and intricate story, we at SRN gave Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn a 5.4 out of 8, with the major drawback being the lack of pirates. Thank you all for watching. Remember to like and subscribe to stay in the loop with all things gaming, and check out one of our other reviews on screen now. We hope to see you again soon.